power shift that we're seeing in health clubs today and in gym environments with wearable technology. A big thing is, how do we help gym owners and operators learn to create value with wearables? And we're seeing right now this onslaught of different types of technology, Peloton, Total Strength, Equinox clubs, even Orange Theory clubs, trying to take their business concept outside of their four walls. So the goal today is really to talk about this power shift that we're seeing and how it's built around the member experience and the customer experience. So what we see today typically is about 6% of our population, roughly 54 million, basically have gym memberships today. And that's who the gym owner, operator, personal trainer is servicing. How do we get to the other 300 plus million members out there? And how can we help build clubs that never sleep or never close? So what we need to do is really understand how we can show, tell, and motivate members a little bit more. But what we're seeing now is in the current competition, such as in boutiques and in Les Mills or in specialty type of fitness modalities, something like you see here today, the demand is high, the competition is really high. So what are we going to do that will actually encourage a different change? And what we're seeing today in some certain products, such as digital products, allowing a gym owner and operator to extend what they're doing one-on-one and actually scaling their business model. So what I'm really encouraging is owners, operators, and trainers are actually leaving money on the table by not using digital technology. So the good news is gym membership participation is at an all-time high, and participation in group classes, some that you see here, like Les Mills, Zumba, all these group classes are getting member customer experience. And those are really the decisions that are driven a gym owner and operator to adopt some of these business concepts. So what we also need to understand is that there's also bad news with the good news. There's increased consumer demand, which means there's more competition. That means a gym owner that can open up a health club now today has to compete against either big boxes or has to actually compete against things as a boutique studio like an Orange Theory. How do clubs actually able to deal with that and keep what they've always tried to actually build their business on, which is, how do I acquire a member? How do I renew a member? And there's plenty of research supporting that digital technologies keep members at your health club a little bit longer. So if your business model is actually a dues-based business model, you should strongly consider adopting things that are going to help them in and outside of your gym. And that really comes down to technology. So we're seeing this never-ending cycle. Truth be told, I've owned and operated. I've been a strength and conditioning coach. I was a PE teacher. I've been seeing this onslaught of never-ending programs and always adopting a new type of rollout or new type of program marketing. How can we compete? How can we reach to the 300 million that we're not servicing? And I'm going to encourage a different perspective on this. And that perspective is, we already have access to that market. It's all through the cell phone market. Over 300 million people own a cell phone. That's 94% of our population. We should be taking advantage as gym owners and operators, as individual entrepreneurs, to have some type of app that helps me drive business to my gym. On top of it, 25% of the population is using a wearable. If 6% are only members, and we got 25% that are using wearables, and we got 94% that have a cell phone, we have an opportunity to have a conversation with that community. So how do we actually increase that range is by being smart, having a hybrid business model that's built on technology, built on helping them change your paradigm. And that paradigm is looking at data that drives a decision, thinking in 3D. How do we use data to help a consumer drive a decision? And it has to create a member experience. And that today has been communicated through heart rate displays in small group classes, also using metrics that look at training load, that look at training intensity, that look at recovery status. So these are our current metrics that are today. These are not future metrics. The ones that are actually using it are taking advantage of this hybrid business model. What we're going to be seeing more of is different types of communication strategies, like NFC. So with NFC, we see wearable devices that you can walk up to a treadmill, scan the wearable device, and it's actually going to know your biometric data and your own personal data. So it actually becomes more accurate. Vice versa, that data will come back to a wearable, and we're going to see the wearable now collect data points like speed, distance, power, cadence. The beautiful thing with this is it's a two-way communication. NFC is definitely something that you're going to see more and more in health clubs today. But how do we actually create a hybrid business model? How do we help a gym owner, an entrepreneur like a trainer that wants to actually create more revenue? The way that we do it is helping them engage communities to use biofeedback in an adaptive, actionable way. We need to coach them from within. How do we motivate the behavior to exercise? Gaming is one solution. We're seeing that today. But having a contextual feedback system with data points that can be either driven through an auditory coaching cue, so they're triggered when they're achieving a certain workout regimen, communicating back to them verbally or through push notifications, having them test their VO2 max, something that's actually a standard in the industry itself. That's often not been able to do in a gym environment is able to be done today. And then the great thing about a platform like this is that you could actually create a curated workout regimen and push it to a person's phone. So as a coach, I can offset the commonly asked excuse when people can't afford it or when people are trying to get a service and are not being serviced because they're not aware that they can actually do workouts on their own. And we're starting to see more and more people adopt workout regimens digitally. Post-workout analysis is another great avenue that you can use, and having an accurate device or having an accurate solution that looks at data points like training load, like you mentioned before, but sleep analytics is a big one that we're not really addressing in this society. We value the person that's on their third monster as opposed to the person that's actually achieved a sleep cycle of at least 7 hours on average, which we value the wrong things in my opinion. Sleep is very critical in training. So those analytics as a trainer, as a gym owner, I know then what type of programming I need to be able to educate my members, or as a trainer, what education I need to provide to them. The other thing too, it goes without saying, is the inbound marketing that we can actually drive through a wearable solution or through a digital solution. So most solutions will have team building programming and leaderboards, and that's really nothing new, but what we can actually add to it now is biometric feedback that's truly individualized on the individual's metrics. Not just points for point's sake. Actually using rock solid science that looks at their fitness level, that looks at their dose of exercise, that changes day to day. Not that I'm trying to achieve a certain point standard monthly. Really wrapping this all up together from an overview is looking at the interactive workouts that can be done in and outside of a gym, providing meaningful biofeedback that can be done automatically via the app, an AI approach, and at the same time a personal approach where the coach or the owner could actually create a two-way communication message saying, hey, great job today, try doing more soft myofascial work. Like the prior presentation, talking about recovery and talking about the value of how it actually helps in preventing potential future injuries, you can build something like that into your workout regimen. So The one thing that I really want to stress is in building a gym that doesn't close or doesn't really sleep is allowing an individual not to be tethered to a location anymore. Allowing a person to actually grow their business in a meaningful way where I can work with the community for the greater good. My last thing that I want to say about this is, if we look at this from a common sense business approach, Blockbuster is a good example. Blockbuster years ago said no one would ever bring entertainment at home through a streaming portal. No one's ever going to do that. We're comfortable. We're a commodity. I ask you today, where are they today? Thank you. I'll be at booth 131. If you guys want to talk to me, feel free to stop on booth 131, or I'll actually leave a couple minutes so you guys can walk up and ask any questions. Thank you.